Hi guys. Today is April 23rd. This is Thursday. We're going to talk about absolute value again today, but we're going to talk about inequality. So kind of mixing together the two topics that we've been doing. So the first thing I want to do is just talk about what does it mean, and then we'll look at how to actually solve a problem, okay? So first things first, if you see something like this, notice there is an inequality symbol and it's also absolute value. We just want to look at what does that really mean? So what this is saying is they're asking you what numbers are less than or equal to 3 away from 0. That's what they're asking, okay? So they want all of the numbers that could be less than or equal to 3 away from 0. Okay, so if you look at a graph, I'm starting at 0, right? So 3 away from 0, I could go 3 to the right, and it says equal to, so that would be a closed circle. Or I could go 3 to the left, equal to, closed circle. And it's less than that distance. So that means anywhere in here would be my solution. So all of these numbers in here are less than or equal to 3 away from 0. For example, -1 is 1 away from 0. -2 is 2 away from 0. And so forth. So if I were to write my final answer here, it would look like this. It's in between. Remember how we wrote in between? So -3 less than or equal to x less than or equal to +3. So remember, whenever it's in between, it's two less than symbols. The x goes in the middle. Smaller number here, bigger number here. They're both equal to because the original one has an equal to. Those are the numbers that would work there. Okay. Now, the opposite is also true. So this one means what numbers are greater than or equal to 3 away from 0. Okay, so more than 3 away from 0, more than, okay? So we look at our graph, so this would be 3 away from 0, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a closed circle because it's equal to, but I want more than that. So that's gonna be going this direction, more than. Make sure you put your arrow on the end, right? Or I could go to -3, that'd be exactly 3 away from 0, but I want more than that, so then that's gonna be going this way, right? So then I could say, I'd have to write my solutions as two separate solutions. So this one would be x is less than or equal to -3, or this one would be x is greater than or equal to 3. So those would be my solutions. Okay, so that's just looking at what it means, what does it look like, but let's look at how we actually solve the problem, okay? So we're just gonna do one example here. So here's an example. So we're gonna kind of put together the things that we've already learned about our two different solvings. So first things first, we wanna turn this into an equation just like we did before. So I'm gonna make it an equal sign instead, right, when we did inequalities. And then remember, this means 2 away from 0. So that means it could be +2 or it could be -2. And then at that point, if I had to solve still, I would go ahead and solve just like we did yesterday. But in this case, we don't have to solve. So I'm gonna put these on my graph. Now look at your original symbol. It's not equal to, so they're not included. So I'm gonna put 2 and -2 with open circles, like so. And then I'm gonna go ahead and test regions just like we did the other time when we were doing inequalities, okay? So over here, I'm gonna substitute in any point that I want. Let's just pick -3 here. Here I'm gonna plug in 0, and here I'm gonna use +3. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in my original inequality, okay? So I have absolute value of -3 less than 2. Here, absolute value of 0 less than 2. And here, absolute value of 3 less than 2. And we wanna see which ones are true, which ones are false, okay? So absolute value of -3, so the distance from -3 to 0 is 3. So is 3 less than 2? No, it is not. So that's not going to be one of my solutions. Absolute value of 0. So what's the distance of 0 from 0? Well, that's still just 0. Is 0 less than 2? Yes, it is. So there's going to be solutions right there in the middle for sure. And then absolute value of 3. So the distance from 3 to 0 is still 3. Is 3 less than 2? No, it is not. So then my final solutions are right there in the middle. Don't forget, we always want to write our final answer. So since it's in between, remember we're going to write the X, and then you write the less than symbol on both sides always. And then that doesn't have equal to. So then the smaller number here, -2, bigger number here, +2. There's my final answer. So sometimes your solutions are going to end up in between, and sometimes they're going to end up on the outside. That's going to change the way you write your answer. That's why we have to check our points. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me through Remind or email or Google Classroom. Have a great day.